Hi, Anand. Yesterday you had sent me an interesting article from Wall Street, which talks about companies that how over a long period of time a company what it's dealing with, what it might be selling, could be a service or could be a product, how it'll keep on evolving. But a company which has good core principles and selling ability is able to keep innovating and morphing itself through time and changing. And it was a very interesting article. I thought we'll talk about that today and
Yeah,
you can
you
give an
should because the company will live,
correct,
the original product will die,
correct,
and you will never knew that the original company was making such products.
correct.
So I picked out two examples and I gave it to you for me to ask questions. And as a surprise pack, I'll tell you of an Indian company which did the same.
Okay. The first one which we want to talk about is a company called Sunbeam. I only remember Sunbeam as a mixie maker. I remember when I was very small, mummy buying
Yeah,
Sunbeam
even
mixie.
today, Sunbeam is
I
a very
know.
famous
Yeah.
company.
So
But Sunbeam was not a
I never knew
Mexican.
all this.
It was actually Chicago Shapley Company or something like that
Correct.
with a fancy name.
Correct.
Guess what? What is the business they started with?
I know it because you gave me the article. And you anyway, I want to
In 1850s, horses were the main business to be
correct.
in. So they made clippers
Correct.
for clipping the mane of the
Horse,
horses,
correct. Trimmers, basically.
like your beard trimmers,
Correct.
like your coolies and the others are doing it. The horse's mane had to be trimmed
Correct.
and groomed properly. So they had a pulley, and you could do this to
Correct.
trim the mane of the horse.
Correct.
Imagine people are spending money for that. And that company went public
Correct.
and was listed in the Chicago Exchange. And they were selling at today's prices $450 a pair of clippers to clip the horsemen. Now, very funny. Then by the 1890s, what happened to that was suddenly nobody was started, the horse usage came down.
Because cars came off.
Yeah. So then what happened? The horseless carriage came. It was not called car,
Correct.
it was called the horseless carriage. So the horseless carriage came and they didn't know what to do. So they reinvented themselves and started making speedometers. And for your foot pedals, which we gave you the brake and the acceleration, they put a coal chamber and heated the pads. In Chicago, it will be very
Cold,
cold.
yes.
You
Still is
can
very cold.
cold. You can't put your legs out and do the pads. So this was the innovation. And finally, in the early 1900s, it became a appliance manufacturer, changed its name to Sunbeam, and then finally made mixies and other products, which is very popular in America even today.
True.
Like you said, we had a Sunbeam at our house.
Yes. I
But
would have never guessed that company starting with clippers for horse mean. I mean,
so this is a wonderful thing. Then your favorite chewing gum, no?
yes.
Your
Boxes and boxes we have consumed in
yeah,
our childhood.
the fruity
Yes.
one and the
And
spearmint one,
spearmint and peppermint.
peppermint.
Wrigley's.
And you thought Wrigley's was only a company which was always making chewing
Just
gum.
chewing gum. I thought only chewing
Okay.
gum. Yeah.
This is a story of a father and son. The son started the branch and they were making Wrigley soaps.
Wow.
And the soaps, what the son did as an innovation in Chicago is giving baking powder free with soaps. And their baking powder became so popular. They both father and son stopped making soap and started supplying baking powders. Along with baking powder, he started giving spearmint Wrigley's chewing gum free. People fell in love with the chewing gum so much. He gave up the baking powder. So a company which was making soap and baking powder today is one of the largest chewing gum manufacturing.
Because it always depends on the leadership of the company, able to see the forecast that where the market is moving, where the trends are moving, and be willing to let go and not have biases towards your product and whatever history you have and move with the times. There's so many companies which have failed. Forget switching from product to product, like Nokia. They're also a company which were doing this. They started with something like I think fishing or something, and they lost it. They lost the ability to innovate.
The three major trends in the last 150 years has been, in India at least, in textile, steel, and then software.
Yes.
Tatas are where they are because they started as an opium trader, became a textile trader, became a mill owner, and from there took the big jump to become a steel manufacturer.
Locomotives and all that.
From then he moved to locomotives, and he had so much cash flow he moved into a lot of other businesses.
Yeah.
But the beauty is, in the late 60s, He put in money in computers and started a software company.
Correct.
That is one of the world's largest software companies.
No one could have
So
seen that.
nobody could have seen it. The ability to catch trend from one to another defines a successful
Yeah,
company.
like what he said in our podcast when we were talking about Google, that they go for moonshots. All these guys survived, and they managed because now and then the leadership.
Okay, can you tell me another Indian company?
I cannot tell you like this. Because this itself, I was quite baffled.
Okay. There's an Indian company called Godrej. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, of course I've heard of Godrej.
How did Godrej
steel cupboards, man. Our house
How
is
did
full of
How did Godrej start his business?
no idea.
Okay. Godrej was a locksmith. He made locks. There's a Godrej Navatal put. Okay. So Godrej
Now
locks
that you're
could
saying
never
it, I remember
been
this.
picked. From there, he went into agriculture. He made soaps. So from
Making
locks to soaps, and from then to furniture. They made the typewriter for the longest time. The Godrej
Yes.
typewriter was the typewriter.
One of our first businesses was
My first business was to sell an electronic version of that typewriter.
correct.
Nobody does a typewriter anymore. They don't manufacture
I don't think our nephew and nieces know what a typewriter is.
They control the typewriter market. Now, the typewriter has nothing to do with a lock. They made locks, they made typewriters, they made refrigerators, they made everything. And finally, now they are making pesticides.
Yes.
They acquired a company called Goodnight.
Yes.
So they always are looking at what is the next way they can flip and jump. So companies which can do this, and when the product lines change, they can change themselves, become very successful companies.
True. But Japanese companies were always the leaders in this. But somewhere along the line, they seem to have lost it.
Sony was a leader. The Sony has lost it.
Yes. Toyota.
Toyota.
You take any of them. They were all leaders at the time.
That is the problem with because your home economy has to be very strong to support this.
Yeah, it has to be very fertile.
Yeah. But if your home economy is struggling, as it is with Japan for the last 2 decades, very difficult for
These companies start to hibernate.
And survival itself becomes a
struggle.
Mm.
That's true. And
all the innovation came in Japan. So it's gone, it moved to Korea, it's moved on now. True. But America survived so long because they allowed free migration.
Correct.
The day you put down migration, you get into such problems. And this is what happened. But anyway, this was an interesting article and I wanted to share it with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for watching Be Rich. Thank you for watching Be Rich. And if you like the content, I urge you to subscribe to my channel, turn on the bell notification. If you do not turn on the bell notification, you will not be notified every time we put out a video. And if you do like the content, kindly consider sharing among your friends and relatives. I have written 2 books in English, The Alchemy of Money and Ordinary Stocks, Extraordinary Profits. These books are published by us and are ready. If you want to procure a copy, send us a message to the WhatsApp number given below and my team would respond to you. If you want an Amazon Kindle copy, you can click the link below. Finally, those who wish to consult with me can send a mail to berichenglish@gmail.com. Once again, I thank you for your support. If you like this video, press the subscribe button of my channel, hit the like button and turn on the bell notification.